I grew up with a family that was just full of artists, singers, musicians, no dancers. And so they always took all my cousins and I, our whole generation, and just made us dance, and we kind of all grew out of it except myself. So I baby danced my way into legendary, I guess, into whatever, the artist that I am now. But yeah, born and raised in Veracruz, Mexico. Um, moved at the age of 11, and I guess I have always been music and art has always been integrated in just kind of like my family to the point where I've always felt like an artist. I've always believed it. It's always been a part of me. And the whole process of, just growing up and graduating and just like taking a chance to see what's out here in Portland has just been so welcoming of some of the attributes that I already had. Of course, there's so much I had to learn along the way, and I'm still learning, but um, I'm always a student that's just ready, trying to stay ready for whatever comes my way, and it has taken me this far, so I'm still going. I have always thought about being intentional with my platform because of what I represent. As I never thought I would be like a leader or a coach. That was never the end goal in any way. Um, so as position kind of became my thing, my role. At the same time, this meme thing came out of nowhere, and I just knew that as silly as it may be, people are watching, and it just kind of put this responsibility on my shoulders that I already had, but it kind of made me more aware of like, okay, the spotlight's on you. What are you gonna do about it? And so it has led me to create events, to keep coaching, to keep doing what I'm doing, but just with that much more awareness of the impact I'm making, even from just going down the sand and being silly with friends. Like that was never meant to, have it be what it became. It was not planned. It just happened. And I think that's the beauty of it. Like a lot of people have their viral moment and maybe they try to like recreate it. I'm not trying to recreate nothing. Like I'm just gonna keep my flow as my natural Aquarius self and see where that takes me. Okay, I would have to say the biggest, like my favorite project. It's like a toss up between two, but I think I'm gonna go with. So House of Ada is a group that I started. I founded here in February 14th, Valentine's Day of 2014. And it just started with the idea of I just want to have fun. I'm starting to learn about ballroom, which, in a nutshell, I can tell you for those who don't know about ballroom, ballroom is a place where the LGBTQIA plus community finds a place of refuge. They find a place of, a chosen family, a place where they can find themselves artistically, just explore themselves. It's a safe space in a way, and it's also really competitive. Um, but I knew that the more I was learning about it, the more I was sharing it with friends, it was really well received in Portland, and so I wanted to create a house, which is basically the crews that they make within people, within the community. And so yeah, I made House of Ada, which is now known as the premier like Kiki house here in the whole Pacific Northwest, really. Um, so yeah, that's something I'm really proud of. Well, it's always important to understand the nuances of like who you are as a person, your identity, and how you bring that forward in your art, in everything you do. I keep that awareness, but I also try to like simplify it because I feel like a lot of times we end up putting ourselves in a box where like because I'm this, I should do this, da da da. And so I try not to limit myself and like break that. Um, and I just challenge my kids to do the same as much as we can. Like we have this phrase we often use where we're like, okay, it's an ADA takeover. And like we literally say that like before we walk into like an environment. And it's not like we're gonna be a chaotic or anything, but just like we're gonna put our best foot forward and we're gonna showcase something they haven't seen before. And that's an ADA takeover, you know? With art, with local artists, there's often this moment where maybe they get really comfortable with their bubble or within their local scene. And it's been my job to make sure I travel and make sure I tell the girls from other cities, like, come check us out. There's raw talent here. There's so much to do. And we have been getting those out of town um, people supporting our scene, really seeing it for us. Of course, like us being able to make it onto HBO Max was a big thing that put Portland on the map for the ballroom scene. So a lot of eyes are on us, and I just want to make sure that it's not this temporary thing that just because we were on TV, now they're looking at us. Like, no, there's a lot of rich, like, raw talent here, and not just in ballroom. As you can see through a Heidi Duckler project, we have so much versatility, and that's something that when I travel and I experience art, there's always a moment, no matter where I am in the world, there's always a moment where I realize, like, Portland has this. Like, as little as it may be, like, we have a lot of great things here. And I want more people to see it. I love Portland Mercado. That is a place where, as soon as I heard about it, I went to it. I brought my family there. I I always feel maybe because I grew up being bilingual and being Mexican and all this, like sometimes I say my name is Daniel and sometimes I say Daniel. And it's the same name, but like the pronunciation makes such a difference for me. And I feel like I get to be Daniel when I'm there. And not I don't bring Daniel into a lot of my projects, I guess. Like sometimes it's like a bilingual thing, really. Like even when I speak Spanish, I feel like there's a certain way that I speak that's like slightly different, and it's a cultural thing completely. To do a Heidi Duckler project, which was actually my first, in an environment that felt like home for me already, just created that much more comfort. And the fact that working with Heidi, she's so appreciative of so many art forms, cultures. It just, I had these ideas as we were working in certain parts of the mercado where I would think, you know, oh, we're gonna do cumbia, right? Like it's the music. I was asking about the music, like what are we actually bringing in? Okay, great. I know a little dance y'all want to learn. Everyone was so receptive to like learning from my culture while being surrounded by this place that, yeah, it feels like home. As like a vulgar, sometimes I'm like only categorized as like a club style, and she's this like trained dancer, and like when am I gonna get an opportunity to really collab with her and dance with her? So this was the Heidi Duckler experience allowed for that to happen for all of us, really, because we all came from different backgrounds. I feel like you have the ballroom scene, and then you have the way it started. Uh, all these houses being created, all these um, competition, all these categories, years and years of history to the point where you have your old school heads, you have your new kids. The competition gets too intense to the point where like it wasn't as fun anymore. So the Kiki was a way of bringing back the fun and the focus for the next generation. And so initially, Kiki was intended to be a place for the younger people to train, to then hopefully make it to the mainstream ballroom scene. And I found that it just made the most sense in Portland to start as a Kiki community because no, when I started doing it, no one else was doing it. There were a few people that knew about ballroom, but no one was taking initiative on like really making that change, training the kids, making the events happen. And I don't take full credit for that. There were so many other people that did their part. But I was just recognized as a person that started the training and started part of the movement and has been able to, um, continue that for the last 10 years. So yeah, Kiki in Portland is just recognizing the fact that we're all students, that we still are continuing to establish this ballroom community here as best as we can.